All right, team, welcome back to After Hours. We have a great show for you prepared today. We have a lot of great topics discussing Casper. If you were in the AMA from last week, if you were watching that with the new CTO of Casper Association, Michael Starr, you probably saw the stupid, ridiculous remarks from the Casper community jumping in and jumping on top of the Casper team, and it was really stupid. And I'm going to get into it in a second here, but this Casper community, I am so over them because it's like, Maddie, it's like people that have like $100 worth of Casper and they hop into these AMAs and they say the ridiculous things and they start rumors, and it's not helpful for no one, right? So we're going to discuss this rumor today. Casper, the Prove AI tool, everyone's saying Casper, but the rumor is based off the Prove AI tool being migrated to Hedera. Wow, where does that come from? We're also going to discuss, will we see a surge in altcoins this bull run? So that would be altcoin season. Will we see that? Because there are some takers on X that are saying we won't see that. We're also going to discuss the AMA, the Q&A session with Michael Starr. I believe I'm saying it right. It's German last name, Michael Starr, from last week. Very interesting. I have 3 points I want to show to you about that. And then maybe concerns with Bitcoin price. I'll lay out what's going on in the economy, and me and Matt will have a little discussion. And Maddie will probably chart Bitcoin if we have enough time. But Maddie, let's start with this rumor. And I'll show this right here. This is from Bob Gill. This wasn't the only one, but he was the main contributor to this rumor. And so the Casper forces, the real Casper forces like Cryptic Wolf and Axe and Maddie was all going ham this past weekend against this guy. So this is what he said. Rumor, Casper Labs Prove AI may migrate to Hedera, or Prove AI being sold off. 90% reliable sources. Whoa, okay. Nobody at Casper Association or Casper Labs is denying this. There is a quiet period at Casper Labs right now. And so this was like the main one, the main tweet that got out, that got the most views. And so the forces jumped on top of him like Maddie here. And Maddie, why don't you just share what you had to respond to this?
Yeah, so, this kind of behavior is just so crazy to me. Like, I understand wanting to share concerns, or if, we see something on chain where we have something tangible to talk about and we're like, hey, what's up with this transaction? Here's the transaction ID. This looks really weird, right? Like, to me, that's very normal and like healthy, correspondence and behavior with each other to, make sure that we're holding each other accountable and also pointing out, anything that might be of concern. But if you guys know anything about debating, generally there is like a chain of claims, and to chain those together, they're chained together with warrants. So I usually would never go after a claim. I'd go after the warrant to discredit the claim itself. But we don't even have to go that route when there's absolutely no evidence to support the claim to begin with, right? And that's really what happened here. The fact that people were saying, I have insider sources that are saying this, but then you don't have any receipts, no screenshots, nothing, you can't name any names. All that is speculation and gossip. Like, that's really what it is. I wouldn't even say this was a rumor. This was just straight up gossip. You guys were a bunch of 12, 13-year-old girls talking on the phone to each other, making up shit that absolutely has no bearing whatsoever. So why, first of all, would IBM and all these other companies spend all this time and money building, developing, testing, sandboxing on the Casper network, and they'd be like, we're going to sell this tool to Hedera, right? Like, you guys have to, first of all, just think about the logic behind it. And then secondly, like, I just don't take any of these rumors at face value until I have evidence. If there's evidence, what can I do? Then I can go and validate, verify, and push back on the evidence and say, okay, how much of this is true? But nobody was able to give me a response this entire time. I also just think there's a lot of immaturity in the Casper community and in the Telegram chat there. You go through, and unfortunately, most of the individuals in that Casper Telegram group are well below average IQ. I think a lot of them are new to investing. I think they're new to crypto. And just based on the way that you guys behave and talk in there, you think that you're a shareholder in some sort of company or something. And that every time someone starts a rumor, that they have this responsibility to hold a press conference to make you feel better about this unfounded rumor that's circulating. That's not how this works, guys. These are commodities. You don't have post-sale obligations. You did not buy security. Go ahead and show me the investment contract that you purchased. None of you guys did, right? So I just think that we really need to, first of all, understand what we're invested in, and also just do a little bit of due diligence, right? Like, be a journalist about this stuff when you guys read something. Don't just retweet and move on and get angry because price is down. I would say that if price was, let's say, at 10 or 15 cents right now for Casper, this rumor would have never even started, like at all. I think people are just so angry about price that they're willing to, be angry at this person, that fundamental, and this fundamental, instead of just realizing like, hey, you know what, this is the reality of it. Price is price, and we will see a recovery in here eventually. But it doesn't give us the right to just all of a sudden come in here and be angry at leadership in the foundations and start unfounded rumors. So I hope you guys take a little bit of time before you repost things to do just a little bit of reading to make sure that we're doing our part, to make sure we're not circulating bad information.
I like that, Maddie. Team, really look at the differences. And remember, there is a difference between the Casper community and the Casper team. Okay. For example, here, if you are in the XRP community, do we look at Ben Armstrong, BitBoy, as the spokesperson for XRP? No, we don't. Okay. And he was a mouthpiece talking, shaming XRP, and then became an XRP holder and anointed himself as king of all XRP holders, And so, team, really, take that step, even with us, right? We talk about Casper a lot. Don't take our word for it. Go back and do the research on the things we're pulling up. I usually try to pull up, the websites, and I don't want to be doing that while I'm talking all the time. So I'll just read the news article. But please do that, and don't take our words for that. This is not financial advice. We are not telling you to buy Casper. We are just sharing what we are doing with our Casper purchases, what we are looking at on the face of Casper, the news that's coming out, the tools that are coming out, what's happening at Casper Labs, and now we'll discuss, the Casper Association and what that means for the future here. And I just wanted to show this one last thing here. Shout out to the Cryptic Wolf. I gave you a follow back, bro. He's like, trust me, bro, sources. This was something Maddie said as well. As soon as I read 90% of the reliable sources, I knew this shit was fake AF. The Casper community has become a joke. The Telegram is for crypto baby investors at this point. Y'all will fall for anything because you'd rather take things at face value than do research. And I think he's 100% right here, team. And honestly, if you are lost in all of this and this is making you if you see something like the tweet I showed you above with the guy that was fighting Casper and that makes you sell Casper, you're lost. And let me tell you, you need to get with some educators, right? I would say go to Maddie directly. And you can do that. Allegedly, Maddie was telling me before the show, if you're a massage therapist, you can go over to Maddie's house and he'll trade some massage therapy for, a little crypto tutorial. Maddie, I won't tell Rocky, but I just thought that was funny. But team, that's not available to all of you. I don't think all of you are in Southern California. So for the rest of you, you guys have to become a Crypto Charge member. Click the pinned link in the comment section down below, and that will take you to Crypto Charge, which is our education platform where we do shows during the week. We got the tools, and we got the coin library. All those things are for your development in crypto education. And then you can get tapped into our Discord via our website. So once you log into our website, it will allow you access to our Discord where you can join the rest of the community. And so when you see some bullshit like Casper you saw last week, you can jump in and see what the actual truth is, and you don't have to wait for the show, okay? Maddie, let's get into this. We'll get into Casper a little bit in a second. We kind of previewed it right there, and so we'll kind of tie up with that in a Bitcoin conversation. But let's start here. I just thought this was interesting. This guy, Rex, posted onto X not too long ago. He wrote, institutions will not be rotating out of their Bitcoin to play alts. Bitcoin ETF buyers won't be rotating. Traders playing options on the Bitcoin ETFs won't be rotating into shitters. It's a totally different market now, and most of you don't own any Bitcoin. And he's showing Bitcoin dominance rising here, right here, Maddie. What does this mean? Do you see any validity to this?
So I think that there's a lot of people out there who maybe have good intentions and they learn what they think is enough about the markets and rotations and who's actually involved in these markets. And then they make huge claims like this, right? They use the word so, and that somehow makes it effective, but that's not the reality. Correlation does not equal causation. But when we look at the rotations out of Bitcoin, I want you guys to think about who makes up the majority of this market. And I know we've talked about this many times, but there's a lot of you guys who just really haven't really gotten this concept through your head yet, or not willing to accept that reality. We do not make, as retail investors, the majority of the market. We don't make the majority of the market. Banks, institutions, and wealthy people make up the majority of this market. So when you see distribution happening on any chart, whether it be an altcoin or Bitcoin, so that's a topping structure, right? You see a distributive structure forming. Who do you think is selling into that distributive structure? Some retail, definitely some retail is selling into that distributive structure, but the majority of that volume that's in that distributive structure is absolutely institutional sales. So when we see Bitcoin dominance fall off a bit, right, and you start to see maybe a little bit of like sideways action, some distribution forming for Bitcoin, and you start to see the altcoin market ripping, where do you guys think that volume comes from, right? Like, do you really think me, you, and your neighbor John are making up the majority of that volume? I promise you we're not. Banks and institutions are the ones picking up that slack. So altcoins absolutely will see another big cycle here. We've even seen dips and pullbacks in dominance. Even today, looking at dominance, this is a great example. We've seen almost a 1% depreciation in dominance today, and you have some altcoins that are up 10 to 15% today, like Velo and Render, and yesterday H&T was doing quite well, and that's all because of just small drawbacks in dominance. And what we've seen in previous cycles is that when you get the bigger drops in dominance with a stable Bitcoin price, which could still be in the process of forming a distribution structure, is that you generally get very, very big pumps in altcoin volume. And again, that doesn't come from me, you, and your neighbor John. That is banks and institutions. So, if you're a Bitcoin maxi and you want to do the Bitcoin play and you want to take that into eternity, go for it. It's not a terrible plan, right? Like, you're still going to outpace the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ and the Dow Jones. But I don't think you're going to make nearly as much money as if you have at least some altcoin exposure and understand that these rotations will continue to happen. Why would they not want to exploit all of the liquidity that's sitting behind there and trap a whole bunch of new traders and use them as exit liquidity, right? That's, in my opinion, the greater game here, is that you definitely want more and more opportunities for them once they rotate out of Bitcoin to trap traders over and over again into different altcoins, and some of them will pop and top first, and then they'll move on to the next one. And the intuition of the retail trader is always to chase the green candles, right? So they count on that. So I hate to say it, you guys are the exit liquidity. They're the market makers. They're the people who make the most of this market. And there will be continued rotations out of Bitcoin into the altcoin market. I don't think that that's going away.
Great insight there, Matt. Just wanted to address that as we are heating up, and we'll discuss this at the end about Bitcoin. But now let's jump back into our world of Casper with this AMA Q&A with Michael Starr. And I want to start with this first question right here, and I'll read it off to you. And we'll go through some of the other two, and then we'll, gather our thoughts here and to see what we really think about this. The question for Michael here is, are we still on track for Prove AI launch in Q3 along with the Condor upgrade? So Q3 is almost up here, so it's like,
right.
Or is it going to happen right now? Prove AI is due to be demonstrated at IBM Tech Exchange from October 21st to 24th, 2024, in collaboration with Grayscale AI. So it didn't give a direct yes or no here, but did share when it is going to be shown to the public, because it has been really like unofficially used with Grayscale AI. You could say officially, but it's not out there for mass adoption right there. And so maybe this is him saying, hey, Q4 October is when we will maybe launch before that event or launch after that event. But maybe this is what he's trying to say here, is everything is surrounding this event and the success of this event and what could transpire after this event. So that's how I pretty much took it. The other question, and then I wanted to show this really quick. Here, let me bring my screen over here. This was on, I saw this on LinkedIn. Someone posted this on Twitter and I pulled it up on LinkedIn. But Serba, which is at the AI governance at Casper Labs, he posted just weeks away from Prove AI market launch. So we could see that at the top of October or mid-October, even before that. And that is from a credible source from the association. Actually, no, not from the association, from Casper Labs at the AI governance, which we'll get into this in a second here, because there is a difference between Casper Labs and the Casper Association. Let me scroll down here. Explain the difference between Casper Labs and Casper Association. I would like to be crystal clear on each organization is responsible for. So here it is. Casper Association and Casper Labs are separate organizations. Casper Association, responsible for overseeing the network and supporting its organic evolution. And then Casper Labs is a for-profit company that develops commercial software and provides consulting services. So the Casper Labs team has their core developers is now at the association, which is the nonprofit. And what else? The node is now belonging to the association. So no longer we are looking at Casper Labs here. We kind of have to look at them in tandem, because Casper Labs is our adoption story, but Casper Labs, or the association now, I'm sorry if I'm making this confusing here. Casper Labs, this is what the tools, this is where we're trying to get our enterprise adoption. The association, Casper Association, is like the core, the network, what we care about, the developers. This is what we talk about, the team. of Casper. So we can't look away from this no longer. This is very important. And this is where the H bar rumors stem from. It's like, oh, now I got nobody responding to me, and then I saw someone in the Telegram channel say something about H bar, and H bar is getting something from Casper. It's like, this is how things are started, you know. And I know we can't sit here and respond to every stupid little comment these people have, but it's like, damn, I wish we could just deaden these stupid idiots before they like start this like, oh my gosh, Proof AI is going to Hedera, you know. So
Yeah, crazy stuff.
and then the last thing here, Maddie, I wanted to discuss was, oh, I think I already previewed it right here. I was already yapping about the node here. Let me scroll down. Was it the last one? These people asked a bunch of questions. That's why you need to stay in tune with the, here it is. That's why you need to stay in tune with the AMA. It was last week. So, has the development of the Casper node now moved to the Casper Association? And does that mean core developers from Casper Lab have been transferred to the association? This is Michael speaking, the CTO of the Casper Association. Casper Association now has full responsibility for the development of the node, protocol, and network, including coordination, management, and resources. So, Maddie, these were the three big things from the AMA that I thought of concern. They also discussed the Condor upgrade is not coming probably from what he said, oh, we'll get to the team together after this Prove AI thing. So I'm thinking like November. So I'm like, okay, maybe the month after they'll get to it. But the Condor update was originally pushed back, and then there was no update of when that is coming. So we are still focused on Prove AI to launch before that upgrade takes place. So Maddie, anything to wrap up with here? Any concerns or anything that you may be worried about with all of this? Is there anything to be concerned about this Casper Labs and Casper Association, you know, split or move of node or core developers going over to the association?
No, no concerns in that regard. At the end of the day, it's really more of just a naming convention that we're working with here to migrate things over and be a little bit more consolidated. And I think for some people, they're just not comfortable with the idea that there's like this foundation that's responsible for development and marketing, all these different things, but people also want to feel like they have some sort of like responsibility that works with them. And that's not how it works, right? Even if you invest in Ethereum, same exact scenario, right? Like you have zero, obligations from consensus. You look at Bitcoin, like who are we going to yell at when if Bitcoin price isn't doing what it's supposed to be doing, right? Like Satoshi did it to you guys, so you guys couldn't yell at him. That's probably why he probably saw a psychic medium and saw into the future. And he goes, oh, I don't want to deal with these clowns. I'll remain anonymous. So, I'm not concerned about migration and consolidation of responsibilities into, one of the two entities. This is already kind of how 99% of crypto projects work from a foundation standpoint. As far as the upgrades being delayed, I'd rather have a good product than a patchy product that instills more concern into the community. Even on a small example, when we launched our program almost 3 years ago, we had to push back our launch date almost 3 times. And our website's not even that complicated. There was just a lot of testing, a lot of UI experiences as we had people coming on through testing. And we're like, no, we got to fix this. It's going to be too uncomfortable when people join the platform. It's not going to be smooth enough. So, understand that it's better for us to identify issues and solidify a product or an upgrade before it's launched than to rush a launch and then have to do patches. People will always blow the patches out of proportion, like we saw with the most recent patch, instead of just saying, hey, let's deliver a good product one time, right? So that's how I look at it. I'm still very excited. You guys can again go look at all of the practical upgrades that come with it. All of them are very, very good features that are going to be meaningful to institutional application builders, especially when it comes to some of the fee rebates, as well as the ability to do customized time blocks and reduce costs. There's a variety of things that are going to make it more practical, not just upgrades that anyone can possibly do. So I'm very excited about it. If it happens this month or 2 months from now, I'm still going to be just as excited that it's here. But again, I think that when we look at price, we look at some of the liquidity that's coming into the market right now, I think a lot of that price action is probably even going to come before some of the upgrades that we see here. And then people will just automatically say, see the upgrade happened and now price is up 50-60%. But markets move when the markets move, right? So again, this is really more about your long-term bullishness. This is more about me keeping 10% of my Casper bag long-term. And these are the kind of things that say, I want to continue to go with that plan of keeping 10% of my bag long-term to potentially reap a bigger reward in the future.
Right, Maddie. People forget this crypto thing is ever evolving. Every crypto project is ever evolving, not just Casper. I mean, even
Right.
Hedera Foundation CEO stepped down, and we've seen, mechanisms change on other, projects. other networks. And so things are always changing, team. And this is why you need to be tapping. And I know you guys love to get married to tickers, but you really need to get married to teams, really, because you guys love to
Sure.
like attach yourself with tickers so you can share, oh, XRP, Casper, ZC, we always say Zcash, but ZC, and, Algo. And so these are things you guys like to get attached to, but really get attached to the team here and fall in love with that and not just the ticker, right? Because you guys are missing the bigger point of what we're trying to accomplish here. Yes, we're trying to make money here, but at what cost? Like, are we supposed to like buy a meme coin because the ticker's cool for the moment? No, we're thinking long term here. Maddie,
Right.
last thing I wanted to discuss here is concerns with Bitcoin price as I had a conversation with Dan last week, and it was very interesting because we just discussed recession, right? We've never seen a rate cutting cycle from the Fed along with a recession. And so, what is the one thing that can spoil the party for Bitcoin? So, here's some pros and maybe a little bit of a con at the end here. We have global liquidity. Geez, Gavin, can you just talk today? Global liquidity on the rise. We have the Fed. They just cut the federal funds rate by 50 basis points. And now I checked the Fed futures right before the show today, and it split right down the middle for the next meeting. 50% chance of 50 basis points at the next meeting, and 25 basis points, the percentage, the other half, for the next meeting on November 7th. So could go either way right now. This is always fluctuating, always changing all the time. We also saw a all-time high in stablecoin market cap, but the odds of a recession are ever so likely with the uninverted yield curve just going positive not too long ago. So everything's here, but the boogeyman, or let's just say, the word that shall not be spoken right now is a recession. Maddie, is this the one thing that can hurt Bitcoin right now?
That or World War III. I mean, those are basically the two things. And maybe we have a little bit more data on a recession that can maybe give us some more inklings as to if that's going to actually come to fruition or not. But I think the black swan would be World War III. And again, that's not something that we can control. As far as Bitcoin price right now, I think that things actually look really, really excellent. We've had two really great weekly candle closes in the past couple of weeks here. We've reclaimed an important level over on Bitcoin. We'll take a quick look here at the chart, actually, just very briefly as a team. One of the things that I've been examining here on this chart is the 50-week moving average. So let's go ahead and just remove the rest of these off of our chart here. So that's gonna be this like orangish yellow line here. And the reason that I like this indicator is because Bitcoin does not interact with it very often. And when it does, we generally get a meaningful momentum directional shift when we interact with it. So for example, back here in 2018, you guys can see we got a little bounce in here, and then we flipped that into resistance, and that was back into the bear market. You break back above here. Of course, the C19 sell-off changed things a bit here, but you still reclaim the 50-week. Saw moves higher, got a little bounce off the 50-week here on the weekly into that second double top. Again, rejecting the 50-week here, showing more bear market. You break it here, you retest it here. And what we're seeing right now is two solid weekly candles that rejected the 50-week and using it as support, right? So bulls buying up that volume. When I come out to the daily chart though here, team, we're just going to, again, keep this brief. You guys can check out more in-depth analysis at cryptocharge.com. When I go ahead and look at the current structure, you guys can see that we have a beautiful flag in here, and that's all that's been cooking up for almost 200 days. It's just world's most beautiful flag. These are classic consolidation structures. For some reason, you guys start to think that time changes the value of a structure. So 200 days, and you're like, Bitcoin's going back to the bear market, right? But the reality is, if the same structure had taken place over like 30 days or 25 days, you guys might feel a little bit differently about it. We are finding incredible support here. So first of all, that level, the 54 level, being defended very nicely. You also had another bounce here off that 58 level, showing a lot of bullishness in there. If I bring back in my other MAs in here, you guys can see we breached back over the short-term MAs, being the 50-day and the 100-day moving average. So I think that things look relatively bullish in here. We go swing high, we go swing low in here. We are pushing up on that 618. So this is a make or break moment here for the Bitcoin chart. If we get a successful break to the upside with this range, I am going to be looking right around $89,000 as that short-term upside target. So right now, I'm very bullish. I don't want to fight against the fact that liquidity is going to start pouring into the market with the easing of credit. I don't want to fight against the fact that Bitcoin is giving us all the structural clues here, especially on those higher time frames we looked at with the interaction with the 50-week on the weekly levels. I always want to go with the probabilities, right? And that's really all that charting is, guys. It's the probabilities. How many probabilities are in the favor of this and how many probabilities are against this? And we always want to trade with the probability. So again, I think that more of the probabilities in our favor right now now, the two things like we talked about that could absolutely disrupt this structure would be recessionary announcement or World War III breaks out. So again, those are the two things we'd be on the lookout for. But we can't invest based on the what could when it comes to those macro factors. So I'm really just looking at the charts here. They look beautiful. They look wonderful. We have the altcoin market waking up right now. We've got some early leaders in there showing some signs breaking over their short-term MAs. So, I'd like to see some more fall through in the altcoin market specifically, but I think Bitcoin is perfectly poised for some more bullishness.
Thank you for that, Maddie. Team, we are way out of time. If this video gets 300 likes before the next Ask Maddie show, we'll bump the time up to 25 minutes because we just keep going over on these after-hour shows. And I try to talk fast to try to cram it, and I don't like talking fast at all, right? Maddie knows how to talk fast properly. I don't. I don't at all. I like to talk slow. And so, team, if you got something valuable here, make sure you like the video. I do want to give some announcements here, especially for the next Ask Maddie show. I did grab a couple other news things that I wanted to discuss today, but we just don't have enough time. If you guys have questions about whether it's like the options for BlackRock's spot ETF, drop it in the comments. I did want to discuss Kamala now backing crypto. What a shocker. We didn't see that coming at all. So drop that in the comments if you want to see us discuss that on the Ask Maddie show this Wednesday. Trump's also limited knowledge about crypto. I was asked about crypto, I think it was yesterday, and it was just like, what kind of response was that? Bitcoin's
hurts to watch.
And then we got some new trace tech that's on the Casper blockchain, which is actually super bullish, and maybe we can get into some technicals this Ask Maddie show this Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. Pacific. So if you have questions, leave them in the comment section down below, and especially if they are good. And if they're not good, I'll dislike it. But if they're good, I will bring them up. And maybe just a couple announcements for this week. Maddie's going to be doing the show today, and this show is coming out tonight. He's going to be doing it Tuesday. But I did want to give you some information because we do have housing data and core PCE coming out Friday. And Dan's going to be coming out of, the woodworks, not this Tuesday, but on Friday to tackle that all on Friday. So, hey, bro, if you're big into, macroeconomics, you're into housing, which is, what we're all into, and we're into the Fed's favorite measure of inflation, join this Friday's the Crypto Charge Live show on the website. So just become a member. Maddie, what do they have to do to become a member?
If you guys don't like paying full price, and I sure don't want you guys to, because I want you guys to stick around, you guys are going to want to use code YouTube when you guys check out. They'll give you guys 50% off any membership. There is a link below to get joined there. But make sure I check out. You guys put code YouTube so you guys get 50% off. You also get 30 days free with any membership. So we're going to give you guys a whole month to try it out. See if it makes sense for you. See if you like our program. I have a hard time believing that you can go through, watch 5 updates a week for an entire month, get into our coin library, get into our learning center, get into our Discord, and say, hey, this isn't worth the money. I think $50 a month is probably the most competitive pricing for what we offer out there. And I'd love for you guys to at least take the free trial. Let us know what you think. And that to me is the biggest gift I can get from you guys, just getting feedback, even if you decide not to stick with our program. So code YouTube gets you 30 days free as well as 50% off. Don't sleep on it.
And if you don't want to do that, you can go over to Maddie's house. You can cruise on over there and go give him a massage, and you'll get everything you need to know. Maddie, we're done today. We'll see you Wednesday. Bye, team.